The action today was in the oil pits. The price of domestic crude hit a 6-month high today after the White House pledged to reduce Iranian oil exports to zero. The Trump administration will no longer grant waivers to countries that buy oil from Iran, and that puts the supply of the commodity in full focus, which is already dealing with sanctions on Venezuela, violence in Libya, and a decrease in output by Saudi Arabia. Crude prices today in the U.S. settled above $65 a barrel, their highest price we have seen since Halloween. We begin tonight with Ylan Mui in Washington.
The White House wants to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions by shutting down its profitable oil industry. Back in November, the Trump administration gave 8 countries a 6-month time frame to wind down their purchases of Iranian crude. The deadline to comply is May 2nd, and today, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo warned there will be no more extensions.
We're going to zero across the board. We will continue to enforce sanctions and monitor compliance. Any nation or entity interacting with Iran should do its diligence and err on the side of caution. The risks are simply not going to be worth the benefits.
The White House has been under pressure to take a tougher stance against Iran. On Capitol Hill, Republican hawks welcomed the move. Senator Ted Cruz said the decision will deprive Iran of billions of dollars that would have been spent undermining the security of the United States and our allies. But the announcement fueled fear in the oil markets that global supply could be disrupted. President Trump tried to tamp down those concerns over Twitter, saying Saudi Arabia and others will make up the difference.
The Trump administration is really walking a fine line between sanctioning countries they don't like while trying to keep oil prices in check. It all rests on Saudi Arabia. This strategy hinges on, will the Saudis open the taps?
In a statement, Saudi officials said the nation will coordinate with other producers to ensure adequate supply, but there were no specifics on timing or production levels. Pompeo said those discussions are underway.
We've been working with major oil-producing countries to ensure the market has sufficient volume to minimize the impact on pricing. I can confirm that each of those suppliers are working directly with Iran's former customers to make the transition away from Iranian crude less disruptive.
3 countries have already halted imports, but 5 others are still getting oil from Iran, including India, Japan, and China. Now Beijing is blasting the decision and defending its imports as reasonable and legitimate, raising the question of whether China or the others will meet the May 2nd deadline. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Ylan Mui in Washington.